Hey guys, welcome back to another video of Star Trek Fleet Command. So by now, we're well into the mining event that is going on. And I kind of have mixed feelings about mining events. I I like them because it forces us to collect materials. More importantly, it forces me. So many times of the day, I'll keep my ships docked in my station because I'm so afraid of my shields being bugged, and I'd rather have additional ship support in my station, especially with my Centurion now. It increases the defensibility of the surrounding ships in the station. So we are, let's take a look. So we have the ranked event or the ranked leaderboard for each person that is mining. We have the solo event with some resources that are rewards, and then we have the alliance leaderboard. And I always find myself not being able to hit this third tier. And keep in mind, I have 3 miners out mining all day long. I have my Centurion basically holding the node for them while they drop off and then come back. And I still need to get 1.5 million more points. I'm at 2 million points. So it is definitely going to be a really hard push for me to get the last tier in these rewards. And they're great rewards, don't get me wrong, but this really comes down to mining nonstop. And I believe at my tier they're gauging those rewards on having 4 mining ships out mining nonstop. And for me, and I'm sure this is the same on many different servers, that it is just a lollapalooza of everyone fighting over nodes. Luckily on our server, we have these galactic rulings about mining nodes, the certain rules around it. If you don't follow those rules, you will get penalized because people will take back their mines, and it's supported by the top alliances on the server. So I think ours is relatively sane for the mining event because we really don't want. I know we had an issue in our alliance today where I had one member fighting with another team over a node, and I just flatly pointed out, I said, just drop the issue. This drama is not worth a node. Just move on. And that's really what it comes down to. But we are actually doing a very good job in the Alliance leaderboard. We're in second place again, and we jumped a lot over Nova. For most of this event, we were about 7 million ahead, and it looks like we're gaining a lead on them, which is nice. And Zero, of course, they're definitely doing a lot more than we are. But they also have a lot of players that have 4 docks. So just to give you guys an idea here, power wise. So Nova's definitely ahead of us in power. They have 2 more additional players than us as well. So they should be kicking our butts in this event. As should UFS and INT. So I'm really, really happy with my group doing a really good job with this event and kind of seeing where it's going to go from here. Other than that, things are really quiet on the server. I was taking the time today with my Centurion and I was testing out officers. And I found some really interesting things about what was going on. And so what I was doing is I was making sure that the officer abilities were not only proccing, as you can see, Gorkin and Claw, their abilities were proccing, but I wanted to make sure that the math actually worked out. And I did this with a Romulan crew setup, and I did it with Kumak and Eric's. And just to give you guys a frame of reference for those officer abilities. Let me just pull them up here. All right. So when you have Nero in Kumak, once Nero burns a ship, then Kumak increases the armor, shield deflection, and dodge of the ship by 50%. But it doesn't do anything. You still take the regular amount of damage as you would if that ability hadn't activated. So for me, that even though it says, Kumak's ability, blah blah blah, activated in this round, even though it says that, the math doesn't work out to reflect any kind of mitigation. And the other thing I noticed was with Eric's. I believe it was Eric's. So as long as the ship's hull health is under 70% of its value at the start of combat, Eric's increases its armor by 30%. A couple of things I noticed with this is it's not 70%, it's 30%. Like, I went round after round after round. My hull kept getting lowered because I kept doing battle after battle. And his ability did not proc until the hull was below 30%. So there's a bug there. And the mitigation didn't take effect at all. So I think and I was talking with some other players about this, and they state that a lot of the Romulan officers are bugged. What I can say is that Nero is not. Nero works the way he's intended. He actually does additional damage. And so that was a really good thing to see. My newest favorite team, because they are a counter to the Gorkin setup, is Cross. So I use Cross because if you pair him up with the right crew, at least for me, I get a 50% rating on this ability of decreasing the effectiveness of the opponent's captain maneuver by 50%. So he can upright block Gorkin's captain ability of critical hits, because the way it works with Gorkin's setup is a critical hit leads into a hull breach, and that hull breach activates a supporting officer setup. And so Cross can actually block that. He can mitigate that ability, so he can mitigate Gorkin's crit ability, and then he also increases the attack, defense, and health of all the officers on the bridge, decreases the attack, defense, and health of all the officers on the bridge of your opponent's ship. And I have been pairing him up with, go over here. All right, so I've been pairing him up with Claw, who increases the critical hit damage of the ship by 13%. And let's see, and Komal. If the opponent is a player, Komal decreases the damage made by its kinetic weapons by 15%. So this is the setup I'm using to fight Gorkin on a Saladin, because my Centurion Explorer has a class advantage over the Saladin, but the Saladin hits like a tank. I mean, it hits hard. And the problem is that with the Gorkin setup, it being an interceptor, it having torpedoes, that crew setup on that ship can easily destroy my Centurion. Because the problem with my Centurion is the hull is so thin on my ship. So that is the setup I'm currently using to basically block that Gorkin crew ability of slicing through my ship. And it worked pretty well. At about 330k, it sliced through a 400k D3. And it actually fought against a similar rating Saladin. But the Saladin was probably around 350, and it had Gorkin, so it stopped that ability. So it worked incredibly well. and I'll definitely play more with that. But what I'm really focusing now is kind of cataloging what crew actually matters, what crew abilities are actually working mathematically wise, because I'm a little concerned with what I'm seeing. Now I'm really interested to see if Sulu's abilities are actually doing any kind of benefit. Because that is the one thing I noticed, is whether or not you have Sulu, Uhura, Bones is not doing any mitigation at all. And he should be doing a ton of mitigation because his ability increases every single round. So I am definitely going to be reviewing that closer. I will tell you right now, the Klingon crews definitely have a far out advantage over their competitors. I've been playing with some Klingon crew setups, and I think right now I have a Gorkin setup on my Centurion. But I had that set up to for Gorkin, but the crew setup I have there is not relying on torpedoes. It's relying on phasers. And I believe who I have on here is I have Gorkin, I have Chang, and I have Morale. And that's working pretty well. Most of the Klingons are set up to go on interceptors or ship with photon torpedoes. So I've definitely modified that setup. But it's definitely a lot of fun, and I'm playing around with it. So I'm going to continue to play with officers, get some more data out there, try to figure out exactly what is going on. And so hopefully we can see a fix come to these officers so that you guys, once the officers are fixed, I think you will see a very big turnaround in battle results. Because I think right now a lot of people are saying, well, I'm not seeing that much of a difference whether or not I use the crew or not. And that may be true. And the problem is it's so hard to gauge that because I don't know which crew members are actually working mathematically wise, where their abilities are actually matching up with how much damage they're causing every round or how much damage they are mitigating every round. So I'm definitely going to work with that. And Hugo has been posting so much information about this. He's very big on the stats and analytics and does a lot of work in the background on that. So when you see him comment on these videos, I would definitely recommend read through what he's posting, because I think it's incredibly well thought out and he has so many solid points about the crew. So that is my shout out for tonight. Hugo, I think you do a really good job, and I really appreciate all your comments on my channel. Keep it up. Love the hard work. But other than that, we are hopefully going to be ending this mining event in the next day and a half or so. Make sure you get out there, mine as much as you can, because I'm going to end with this. I'm going to go over here. There is the bonus refinery coming up in 1 day and 12 hours. It's kind of weird. It's all over the place here. Let's see. Yes. 1 day and 12 hours. As you know, that's when you get a lot of an uncommon. And I'm praying on a lot of gas because I need to upgrade my shields on my Centurion. So I am hoping to get as much as possible. And I have like 250,000 gas ready to refine. So I'm looking forward to that. Other than that, make sure you click subscribe, like the video, and comment down below. Otherwise, you guys take care, have fun, be kind to one another, and I will talk to you later.